friend Bruce at Competition Supplies loves an old Sports 2000 car. He's got a couple of Lolas along with a freshly restored Tiga SC81. It was this car that Bruce asked if I'd like to shake down for him, as he's far too important to be bothered with such menial tasks. So after biting his arm off at the shoulder, we booked a slot at the Mission Motorsport National Transition event at Silverstone. This combines opportunities for service leavers, veterans and military spouses to mix with companies from the automotive and renewable energy sectors, along with a track day to up the fun level. Bruce had rescued the car from America, where it was slowly deteriorating after years of disuse and neglect. Upon its return to Blighty, the car has been through a nut and bolt rebuild and is now as good, if not better, than the day it left Howden Ganley's factory. After the first few exploratory laps, I brought her back in just to check nothing had fallen off, come loose or was leaking, and then headed straight back out again. In the late 70s and early 80s, the Sports 2000 class was in rude health on both sides of the Atlantic. Manufacturers such as Lola, March, Royale, Chevron and many others all produced cars for this series. But it was the Tiga that had terrific success, winning the championship in 79, 80, 81 and 82. In fact, this very car helped Richard Eyre win the 1982 British Sports 2000 title.
The red overspray.
After a quiet start to the day's proceedings, Nick arrived with his hat.
Does it go fast?
It goes quite fast, it's quite surprising rather.
But it's clearly adjustable.
You change the Venturi effect over the back of the car to, I mean that's utterly bollocks, it's just not moving.
It sounded like bollocks to me, I have to say. It was very, very convincing bollocks, but bollocks all the same.
Rich, he was here for about 5 seconds before he started fiddling with the car.
Well yeah, I know, but that's standard procedure, isn't it? That's what we expected.
You know, I haven't fiddled with the car yet, I haven't got my gloves on.
Oh my god, yes, you've got the gloves.
While I got ready to head out on track once again, an attractive Italian caught Nick's eye.
Oh, stop it now.
I left Nick to his ogling and headed back out on track. It's somewhat nerve-wracking taking someone else's car out onto circuit, even if this was just a track day to shake it down after its restoration. I'd not driven a Sports 2000 car before, so I was taking my time getting to know it and its handling characteristics. The car is powered by a 2-litre Ford Pinto engine, basically bog standard with a bit of blueprinting, and produces maybe 130 horsepower. That engine drives a 4-speed Hewland Mark 9 transaxle. The car weighs just 500 kilos, so despite its lack of horsepower, it's very sprightly indeed. I was beginning to get a nice feel for the car. The handling was good, it didn't try to bite me, and I felt reasonably comfortable with it. The plan, if this shakedown went well, was to race the car in the prestigious Silverstone Classic event. The car is eligible to run in the Thundersports category, and there's likely to be quite a few Sports 2000 cars in the race, so it should be fun. Plus, it's the Silverstone Classic, so who wouldn't want to race in that? An incredible opportunity and a real bucket list event for me. I was quite excited at the prospect.
It's done its venting now, hasn't it? So
it might as well do it. Well, it's still going to do the same.
It's going to balloon, but if you pin it, it might balloon enough to blow. You just don't know, do you?
So just double check for a mark. So that's where
here we're just working out which way to turn the cockpit-mounted knob that adjusts the brake balance front to rear. No one had marked it, and I didn't want to guess.
Clockwise.
It's going towards the rear.
Okay.
That's
where it was. So I'm going to go full turn to the front.
About 3 turns. So 3
and half. 1 half. What? You stay.
Just which way's front and which way's rear.
Oh, it's actually marked up.
Oh,
it's
my inferior eyesight.
Oh, is it?
Do we agree?
That looks like that way, but it's not very good. I'll do it with a pick.
trying to get some lap time data to see when we get to the ultimate pace of the car as it is before we do any setup changes, because drivers are the worst feedback in the world generally. No, that's unfair, but yes.
Move it.
Bruce had one of those Garmin Catalyst devices to try out, so we installed that to get some more data and some more onboard footage.
Oh, and I have moved it. Oh well, you'll have to do it again.
Right on cue, Woody arrived with his lunch to have a poke around and offer his sage advice.
I think that was on the downshifted to Vale.
With the camera installation done and one or two tweaks completed on the car, it was time to head out for another run. The car was performing well.
So, how's it gone?
Brilliant, really good. Yeah, super chuffed. Car was amazing. I mean, considering it's not turned a wheel for 30 years. There's a slight oil leak, but it's a Ford Pinto, so those are compulsory. Float bowl in the carburettor was not quite set correctly, so we got a bit of the engine cut out as we go around the fast stuff. So fixed that, and it's brilliant. We're running on old tyres all day. I don't know how old they are. They probably predate the ARC. That's what they kind of felt like. But we were pretty close on times to something that was half decent, considering we actually didn't get a decent lap, because track days you can't. It's one of those things. But no, really happy. Yeah. Nothing fell off it. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. What a lovely car to drive.
And what lap times like then?
220. I mean, 220, 221 was theoretical best if you pump them all together, but of course you can't put a decent lap together. You have to put the sections together. So I'm with loads in it. So we can bolt another second on in tyres, I reckon.
And then, so next time you're in this car, it's going to be the Silverstone Classic.
I don't know, we might get another test in beforehand. There's a few things that there's just a few little niggles that need to be fixed between now and then. So hopefully we'll get another test in somewhere before that, just to make sure that's all lined out. But to be honest, I'd race it tomorrow.
And no new brackets from Nick?
Maybe we'll have a bracket. I don't know. Nick's obviously thinking about the brackets. There is plenty of bracket opportunity.
Other than that, it's all good.
Fab.
The day had gone well enough for us to put our entry in for the Silverstone Classic. The Silverstone Classic is so much more than just another motor race. The track, along with the historic Sports Car Club, put on an absolutely massive event over the August bank holiday weekend. There's an incredible amount to see and do around the venue, with a great big fairground, a shopping area, demonstrations and static displays from the sponsors, along with a lineup from every owners club you dare to think of. It's a real family affair, and the weather was glorious. Nick and I took some time to head over to the Yokohama stand and chatted with some people who recognised us. Bruce had managed to wangle us a spot in one of his friend's awnings for the weekend. Right opposite us was a sight to behold. A multitude of fabulous F1 cars from the late 80s and early 90s, including Senna's stunning McLaren MP47. Sharing a paddock with these beauties was a real thrill. The fiberglass seat isn't supremely comfortable and the pedals are a bit of a faff to move about, so I figured some strategically placed foam pads would enhance the experience. We drafted in an expert to correctly line up the race numbers. My feeble attempts were met with derision. Qualifying time was fast approaching, and while Bruce was waiting for me to come back from probably the burger van, he took the opportunity to get the engine up to temperature and make some final checks. It's really hard to get temperature into the oil without loading up the engine, so all you can do in the pits is slowly bring the water temperature up, make sure it's not leaking, and confirm the gauges are all working correctly.
I'm not showing any water temperature. Obviously that's bollocks because there's plenty of temperature, but I can't see it on the gauge.
A bit more revving and the recalcitrant mechanical temperature gauge leisurely began to read what we hoped was something like the correct temp.
Yeah, I get that. I don't want to boil it, but I just want to get it nice and warm. It'll continue, when I switch it off, it'll continue to heat up for a bit.
With the car ready to go, it was time for me to get myself changed and into the zone.
You're going out at some odd time, like 3:57.
Yeah, give or take a few.
Precise, isn't it?
Yeah, well they've got a lot to get through, so they're not messing about.
Run us through the specs of this car then.
1981 Tiga SC81. This actual car won the British Championship Sports 2000 class in 1982. It's a 2-litre Pinto, 4-cylinder engine, about 130 horse on a good day. We've got brand new Yokohama slicks. It's quite a good car. It's got a bit of downforce. It's quite slippery. It won't be the fastest thing out there, but hopefully it won't be the slowest either.
0 to 60?
Yeah, it'll do 60. I have no idea. Does it? I have no idea. 3.5, maybe 4. I don't know.
Cool.
It's very, very light. It's probably, what do you reckon it weighs? 800 kilos? Oh no, probably not even that. No, it was 600 kilos, 500 kilos. It's not very heavy.
And Nick's not tinkered with it yet?
Nick's not had a chance yet because he's late to avoid the early tinkering.
Where's the water?
You have water after quality. Prima donnas.
No. It's heavy enough, is it?
I know. And he's wearing a t-shirt.
Let's get it out so we can get the Mustang in. Sorry.
It's automatic, but it's doing my lap time, so that's the most important thing at the moment. So
He's got a watch with a stopwatch on it, but you can't use it with gloves on because he's a prick.
We were only a couple of hundred yards away from the assembly area, so we pushed the car through the paddock and into position, ready for qualifying. The Thunder Sports class brings an incredibly eclectic array of fantastic cars to the grid. Strapped in and ready to go, my pre-quali nerves were beginning to manifest.
Come on. Carb life.
We didn't get a chance to test again before the event, so this is only the second time I'd driven the car, and as it's not mine, and the car had been beautifully restored to its former glory, I can tell you that the butterflies were doing their damnedest to escape from my belly. It's a heck of a long way down the pit lane at Silverstone, but I knew once I got onto the track proper, the anxiety would subside and the adrenaline would take over. After a tour to get my eye in and warm the new tyres up properly, I settled in to try and get a banker lap to build upon. Flags meant I had to slow down through the Brooklands and Luffield section, which was somewhat annoying on my first flyer. And I certainly wasn't confident, or in fact brave enough to tackle cops flat out yet. The Maggots and Beckett's complex is always a thrill, no matter what you're driving. Unfortunately, after the next lap, there was a red flag and we all had to come back into the pits.
Bruce ready with his notebook. That's a clear rinse. Good.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Just getting a handle on it.
Nick loves scrabbling around under cars, so we tasked him with grabbing the tyre temps while I took a breather and gathered my thoughts.
47 inner. 48 middle. 43 outer.
Checks complete and the track green again, it was time to head back out and try for a faster lap. But the car had other ideas. It just cut out on me. Thankfully, it restarted immediately and I was back on my way. More yellow flags meant another hot lap had to be delayed, but when I did get the green flags to go, something didn't seem right with the car at all. I picked up a misfire, so it wasn't worth trying to push on, and I brought the car back into the pits to investigate the problem. On top of the misfire, the clutch wasn't working correctly. It felt like something had jammed, so unfortunately, that was my qualifying session over. A post-session draft beer is the only sensible course of action at this juncture, and Bruce was all over it.
Thank you for your service.
Best one I've had today.
It seemed rude not to get involved. After all, it was 5 o'clock somewhere.
Nick's not liking my dizzy, and to be fair, I do concur.
Oh.
You remember cheap Bosch imitation dizzy claps, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Because we got that oil there and we've had an issue, even though we found this, do I whiz back, get the leak down gauge or compression tester, what it takes to whiz the plugs out,
It's not going to hurt to have a look, and if they're foul to then that's half the problem.
Yeah.
So while you're having cake, Rich,
Because I'm really hungry.
you are. What's the update on this?
Well, we don't know really. The clutch we've fixed basically, but the misfire is still a bit of a mystery at the moment. So a cake, cake and tea.
You've never had any success, let me do it now.
Just going to give it a, so it had a misfire at the end of qualifying. We found a couple of things in the distributor. I just want to give it a quick blast up the road and see if it's pulling cleanly. So hopefully then we can just get on with a straightforward prep and we've resolved the 2 issues we had in qualifying. But the only way we can have an air filter on is to put the tail on, so that's why we're putting the tail on. Yeah. We're here for the sport, and it's good sport having working with guys that you like. So yeah, but yeah, they are idiots. Couldn't I have the lightweight picks to make up for my success balance? The lightweight, yeah, that make all the difference.
Under the watchful eye of Jasmine from the HSCC, Bruce took the car out to give it a blast up the road.
How did it feel then, Bruce?
It felt really good. I mean, it felt as good as they ever do. Clean, pulled clean, up to, you know, I don't know, up to 7,000. So I think hopefully we found it. But of course you never know until it's stitched and it gets hot again. But
I have no idea.
We've found things we didn't like and we've changed them, and it now appears to work. So that's probably about as much as we can do.
Well, we think we fixed it. I'm not convinced we fixed it, but you know, they seem pretty sure. Reasons.
Which won't be
It's just a
Sunday.
yeah, but no, yeah, all right, you know, it is what it is. There's not else we can do, to be honest. But yeah, clutch is 100% fixed. That's fine, and that might have not helped the cause with the misfire. Nick's under the impression that it sort of choked itself up as we were under safety car conditions for quite a long time before I came in. It got hot while we were sitting in the pit lane. So yeah, and then because the clutch wasn't working, I couldn't blip the throttle.
It's not often.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah, a lot more often than he cares to admit. But yeah, we'll see. But changed the rotor arm, changed the dizzy cap because they were like riding around like a prick in a sock. So and we've run it up the road and it feels fine. So what can you say? Just got to prep it and it's ready for Sunday.
On Sunday morning, Ben showed us his prowess in applying stickers.
Yeah, qualifying well, it's a great circuit. Qualifying well, it's hard work. I don't want to do it.
Look away. Stretched it down.
Did you see I failed where others succeeded? I did all right there.
I'm been stymied here by a Kiwi.
This isn't going to turn into you printing your own stickers, making a printer overnight.
There's more YouTubers print their own stickers than anything.
I've seen.
While Ben and Nick were failing dismally to get some sponsor logos on the car neatly, I grabbed hold of former Formula 1 driver Howden Ganley, who was the man responsible for Tiger race cars, for an interview. I began by asking him how the company came about.
Well, it was a bit of an accident. I was coming to the end of my racing career, Formula 1 career, and Tim Schenken was as well. And Tim was asked if he would fund a Formula Ford project, and he came to me and showed me, and I said, forget that, why don't you and I do it together? So we decided to start Tiger. We eventually built 250 of them, of the various models, between 78 and 87. And it was a magic formula for us, and we won the championship so many years. So this particular car was Richard Ayre's car. It's an 81, but he won the 82 championship fairly strongly. So this was a very good balanced car. Good aero, quite quick on a straight line. You had the adjustable rear splitter, so you can put a lot of download into it, or you can have nearly no download, depending on the driver. And same at the front. With the front splitter, it puts more, and then it's fairly sensitive to roll bar change. So I think and it's strong enough you can drive it flat out into the barrier and probably not hurt yourself too badly.
As Howden mentioned, the car has good aero, so it's important to make sure all the surfaces are clean before we head out to the race. He also gave us a good tip on the setup.
This wing,
Yeah.
what's the angle of it? What is it? I mean, it's got to be technical.
It's set out wherever the bloke who put it all back together when it came in boxes from the States decided it looked right.
So it sounds about right then.
But the bloke who built the thing and designed it said you want a bit more, so we're not going to disagree.
You staggered the tyres as well.
I thought they were running slightly more pressure on the right hand side, aren't they?
For race day, my wife and the twins arrived to soak up the atmosphere, play in the fairground, and hopefully watch a good race.
Are you not?
Yes, darling, I am.
Which car do you think is going to be?
Well, the whole race I'm not sure, but our class probably the white Shrike car. Or you, or me.
A racetrack is a noisy place, so the girls were supplied with ear defenders and the obligatory sequined soft toys.
It's a knee pad, because my knee hits part of the car when I'm driving, so this stops me getting a massive bruise and it hurting. Yeah.
You're going racing with an owl?
In the dark?
Whee! So this camera's going to be watching you back.
Yes, it is. Can you grab me that yellow cloth, please?
This.
Yes. Thank you.
The preparations were complete and we were ready to head down to the assembly area for the race.
Child labour.
Yeah, she's good. I'm cheaper than you. Actually, no one's cheaper than you.
How you feeling?
I hope he wins.
You hope he wins.
The event really is a festival, and having the family around just makes it all the more special. The HSCC and Silverstone have done an amazing job, and even if I wasn't racing, just to be here to watch, listen and smell all the different cars from down the ages is a real thrill.
Yes, it is, yeah.
As the girls headed off to the grandstand, it was time for me to get my race head on. Even though I'd only got one half decent lap in qualifying, I hadn't ended up last, but there were some very fast cars behind us who'd hit even more trouble, and they would be waiting for the earliest opportunity to pass. God, that McLaren Can-Am car is amazing. What a beast that is.
Don't recall me having a rummage, for Christ's sake.
It's the best
The old
bit.
rummaging cycle.
Yeah, man.
It's the highlight of the whole video.
Look.
Jesus, I've got a special lens. You're on macro.
It's always a treat to see people in our merchandise, especially someone at her very first race meeting. After all that, it was time to get going. My nervous excitement threatened to boil over, but soon the green flag would drop on our rolling start and we'd be away at the races. My start was pretty good, dispatching a fellow Tiger driver into turn 1, and then another car fell off in front of me. That's just the kind of start I can get on board with. The clutch was fine, and the misfire was nowhere to be seen. Now to get my head down, get some clean laps in, and see what I can do from here. A mistake by the Lola driver through the middle of club gave me an opportunity to make another place up, and I wasn't going to say no to that. All in all, that was a pretty good first lap and I was feeling good. Just another 37.5 minutes left. At this point I was dropping back from the Lola on the straights and I knew I had a problem. The misfire had started to manifest itself again at the top end and I was losing speed. I soldiered on for another couple of laps while the pit stop window was open and then the safety car was brought out, so I dived in for my mandatory stop in the forlorn hope that during the 60 seconds Bruce and Nick could do something.
Funny noise.
Missing again.
Firing like crazy. I can't clear it.
Along with the misfire, I'd noticed that the oil pressure had dropped by a worrying degree.
And that's 25 psi at peak revs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's...
Call it then.
Call it.
Happy, call it.
Call it.
It's no good running around like that.
I'm sorry, Richard. I don't see the point in running a misfiring engine with 25 psi oil pressure.
25 is nothing.
Not enough for 7,000 RPM.
The race was still going on while we'd made our way back to our awning. A disappointing end to our event, but hey, that's racing.
Something not happening in that motor.
It started great.
We noticed it was going really well.
Yeah. But then
I thought you were being circumspect, respectful.
I was.
I thought so. And then you were dropping back.
Could you hear it then?
Evidence of an oil leak was plastered all over the rear bodywork.
Oh, mate.
Disappointing, isn't it?
What happened exactly?
Well, we're going really well to start with. Tucked in behind the Lola, quicker in places, slower in others. Learning the track, fastest I've ever gone. 219.6 with the best of 218 something.
Yeah.
So that was quite good. And getting quicker and quicker and quicker and happier. And then it started to misfire. So we dropped back from the Lola, it didn't clear. Oil pressure went down. So we called it at the safety car.
Still, you've got to drive the Classic even for a few laps.
Yeah, we haven't done that many laps this weekend, but I tell you what an event. The Historic Sports Car Club what an event. I mean, it's fair play, and I can't wait to hopefully get invited to come back again, because yeah, I love that. That was just an amazing weekend.
And Bruce?
Well, what can you say? Top legend. I mean, let me have the car. Come on. Thankfully, I brought it back in one piece, so maybe he'll let me have it again.
The Silverstone Classic was an amazing event, and they've now rebranded it as The Festival, because it really is. Every car from every era you could possibly want to see. A huge array of car clubs, a fantastic shopping and fairground area. Access everywhere to everyone. You can get right up close and personal. It's brilliant. And I have to say a massive thank you to Silverstone, to the wonderful Historic Sports Car Club for looking after us so well, to the marshals, the spectators, but most of all to Bruce for entrusting me with his gorgeous car. It's a shame we didn't make the checkered flag, but that didn't detract from the fantastic experience. Thanks again, Bruce. Perhaps we'll get to run it out again sometime.